Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered if your life is moving in the right direction? Have you ever questioned whether the things happening around you, both the good and the difficult, are random events or part of something greater? There are moments when we stand at a crossroads, uncertain of what lies ahead, unsure if we are making the right choices or even if God is guiding us at all. But what if I told you that His plan is unfolding in your life, even when you don't see it? Think back to the times when doors closed unexpectedly, only for something better to come later. Recall the moments when a challenge stretched you beyond what you thought you could bear, yet looking back, you realize it made you stronger. Consider the people you have met, the conversations that changed your perspective, the opportunities that arrived just when you needed them. Were these coincidences, or were they signs of something greater at work? The truth is, God's plan doesn't always reveal itself in obvious ways, but if you pay attention, the signs are there. Today we will explore 6 powerful ways to recognize when His hand is guiding your life, shaping your future, and leading you towards something greater than you ever imagined. There are moments in life when a door swings open effortlessly, revealing a path we never expected, and we marvel at the ease of it all. Then, there are times when a door slams shut, leaving us standing in confusion, wondering why an opportunity was taken away. These moments are not random, they are signs of a greater hand at work. When God's plan is unfolding in your life, He does not merely guide you by placing opportunities in front of you, He also protects you by removing paths that were never meant for you. At first, it may feel frustrating, even painful when a door closes, a dream job that slips away, a relationship that falls apart, an ambition that crumbles despite your best efforts. It is human nature to resist such changes, to believe that if we work harder or fight longer, we can pry open what has been shut. Yet what we often fail to see in the moment is that some doors close not because we are unworthy, but because they would have led us astray. Imagine a traveler standing at a fork in the road. One path looks bright and inviting, the other less appealing, shrouded in uncertainty. The traveler, relying only on his own sight, chooses the first, but unknown to him it leads to danger, a road that ends in ruin. Now, picture a wise guide stepping in, gently blocking the way, urging him toward the other path. The traveler protests, frustrated that the easier road is now inaccessible. But in time, as he walks the road he never would have chosen, he realizes it leads to places far greater than he had imagined. This is how God moves in our lives. He sees what we cannot. He knows the outcome of every choice before we even consider it. When He closes a door, it is an act of love, not rejection. It is a silent redirection, a call to trust that what lies ahead is better than what was left behind. Equally, when a door unexpectedly opens, it is a moment of divine orchestration. You may find yourself in the right place at the right time, given an opportunity you never sought. Perhaps a stranger offers you a word of encouragement that changes the course of your decisions. Perhaps a chance encounter leads to an unexpected blessing. These moments, seemingly coincidental, are glimpses of a larger design. The challenge is to embrace both, the doors that open and the doors that close, with equal trust. The heart longs for certainty, yet faith is not found in knowing every step, but in trusting the one who guides them. Looking back, you will see that the doors you once mourned were blessings in disguise. The opportunities you never expected were planned all along. And when you realize this, you will walk forward with greater confidence, knowing that every open and closed door is a step toward the life God has written for you. There is a kind of peace that the world understands, the peace of security, of having everything in order, of knowing what tomorrow will bring. But there is another kind of peace, one that does not depend on circumstances, one that settles deep within a person, even when the world outside is in turmoil. This peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of something greater. When God's plan is unfolding in your life, this peace begins to take root, quieting fears and replacing uncertainty with an unshakable assurance that you are exactly where you need to be. At times, life feels like a storm. Questions pile up, worries creep in, and the future looks uncertain. The mind races with possibilities, with fears of what could go wrong. Yet, in the midst of all this, there comes a moment when everything inside grows still. Not because the storm has passed, but because something greater has settled within. This is the peace that defies logic, the peace that does not depend on understanding every detail of the journey, but on trusting the one who leads. This peace does not mean that life becomes easy or that trials disappear. It means that even when challenges arise, they do not shake the foundation beneath your feet. You may not know exactly where the road leads, but you know that you are not walking it alone. The struggles that once left you restless no longer have the same power over you. Fear gives way to quiet confidence, not because the problems have vanished, but because your heart has learned that God is in control. Sometimes this peace is noticed only in hindsight. You may look back on a difficult season of life and realize that, even then, something within you knew you would be all right. Perhaps you faced a decision that should have left you anxious, yet you felt strangely calm. Perhaps you stepped into an unknown future without the usual panic that such uncertainty brings. This is not mere optimism or wishful thinking. It is the unmistakable mark of God's hand at work in your life. Many people spend their lives chasing peace, believing it will come when circumstances align perfectly. But the peace of God does not wait for perfection. It does not require every question to be answered, every problem to be solved. It simply asks for trust. When you find yourself resting in that trust, when fear no longer has the final word, when you can face the unknown without despair, you will know that His plan is unfolding. This peace is not something you can manufacture. It is something you receive. It is a gift, a quiet assurance that whispers, "You are exactly where you need to be." And when you carry this peace, you become a witness to those around you. They will see that even in the chaos, you do not waver. Even in the uncertainty, you stand firm. And in that, they too may come to see that there is a peace greater than anything the world can offer. There is a natural instinct within us to avoid suffering, to see difficulties as obstacles rather than instruments of growth. We pray for ease, for solutions, for a smooth path forward, believing that the absence of hardship is a sign of favor. Yet when God's plan is unfolding in your life, challenges do not simply disappear. Instead, they take on a new meaning. They are no longer barriers meant to break you, but tools designed to shape you. Pain is never meaningless. Every trial, every setback, every disappointment carries within it a lesson, a refining process that molds you into the person you are meant to be. A blacksmith does not shape metal with gentle hands, but with fire and hammer, bending, striking, and forging until it becomes something strong and useful. So it is with life. The struggles you face are not punishments. They are preparation. They are not meant to destroy you, but to strengthen you. It is often through hardship that our true character is revealed. In moments of comfort, we may believe ourselves to be patient, kind, or steadfast, but it is only when tested that we see whether these qualities truly reside in us. A person does not learn endurance without enduring. Courage does not develop in the absence of fear. Faith does not grow when everything is certain. God allows difficulties not because He delights in suffering, but because He knows that only through the trials of life do we become who we were created to be. Look back on the hardships you have faced. At the time, they may have seemed unbearable, unfair, even cruel. Yet now, from a distance, can you see how they shaped you? How they stripped away what was unnecessary? How they revealed strengths you did not know you possessed? The disappointments that once felt like the end of the world became the very experiences that prepared you for something greater. The losses that once seemed devastating led you to something more valuable. When you are in the midst of difficulty, it is easy to believe that God has abandoned you. But what if, instead of removing the trial, He is using it to equip you? What if He is refining your patience, deepening your wisdom, strengthening your faith? When you begin to see trials in this way, your perspective changes. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather, "What is this teaching me?" You begin to trust that even in the pain, there is purpose. One day you will look back and realize that the struggles you once resented were the very things that made you who you are. They were not roadblocks, but stepping stones, leading you exactly where you needed to go. And in that realization, you will see that God's plan was unfolding all along, not in the absence of challenges, but through them. There are moments in life when a conversation, a chance meeting, or a seemingly small event changes everything. A stranger speaks the very words you needed to hear. A door opens through an unexpected encounter. Someone enters your life at precisely the right moment, bringing wisdom, encouragement, or opportunity. These moments are not accidents, they are divine appointments, carefully orchestrated by a God who weaves every detail together with perfect timing. When God's plan is unfolding in your life, you will begin to notice these encounters more often. You may cross paths with someone who has the exact experience or advice you need for the next step of your journey. You may find yourself in a situation you never planned, yet it leads to growth, understanding, or even a life-changing decision. In the moment, these experiences may seem random, but later you realize they were pieces of a greater design, arranged long before you were even aware of them. Think of the friendships, mentors, or influences in your life. Did you seek them out, or did they appear at just the right time? Perhaps you received a call when you were at your lowest, and the voice on the other end spoke the encouragement you desperately needed. Perhaps you stumbled upon a book, a speech, or a message that answered a question you had been struggling with for years. These are not coincidences. They are reminders that you are not walking this path alone. Sometimes divine appointments are not about receiving, but about giving. You may find yourself in a position to offer wisdom, comfort, or help to someone else. What you share may seem small to you, but to them it is life-changing. You become an instrument of God's plan, just as others have been for you. The beauty of these moments is that they are often unplanned by us, but perfectly planned by Him. Recognizing divine appointments requires awareness. Too often, people dismiss them, thinking, "That was lucky," or "What a strange coincidence." But there is no such thing as luck in God's plan. Everything is intentional. The problem is that we are often too distracted to see it. We rush through life, preoccupied with our own concerns, and fail to recognize the opportunities unfolding before us. The more you trust in God's plan, the more you begin to see His hand in every detail. You will notice the connections between people and events. You will understand that even delays, disappointments, and unexpected detours were part of a grander design. And when you reflect on these moments, you will realize that nothing in your life has been wasted. Every encounter, every conversation, every seemingly small event has been leading you exactly where you need to be. When divine appointments happen, embrace them. Listen closely, pay attention. You never know how one conversation, one encounter, or one seemingly ordinary moment may change your life forever. There is a kind of strength that does not come from personal effort, nor does it rely on one's abilities or resources. It is a strength that emerges in the very moments when you feel weakest, when you have reached the end of yourself and have nothing left to give. It is in these moments, when you are certain you cannot continue, when every option seems exhausted, that you suddenly find yourself moving forward, sustained by something greater than your own will. This is not mere determination or resilience, it is divine strength, the unmistakable sign that God's plan is unfolding in your life. Life has a way of pushing us to our limits. There are seasons when every step feels heavy, when burdens pile up faster than we can bear, when exhaustion, physical, emotional, or spiritual, threatens to overtake us. In these moments, the natural response is to give up, or at least to slow down. Yet somehow you keep going. Somehow you wake up and face another day. Somehow you find words to encourage someone else, even when your own heart is weary. This is not your own doing. It is evidence that God is at work, carrying you through what you could never endure on your own. The world tells us that strength comes from self-sufficiency, from having everything under control. But true strength is not found in the absence of struggle. It is revealed in the middle of it. When your own strength fails and yet you continue, when you should have fallen apart but instead find peace, when you feel stretched beyond your limits yet still endure, that is when you know God's hand is upon you. He does not remove every challenge, but He provides what you need to face them. Many people believe that feeling weak means something is wrong, that struggling is a sign of failure. But what if weakness is actually an invitation to stop relying on yourself and start depending on the one who never grows weary? When you stop trying to carry everything alone, you discover a strength that is not your own. It does not come from effort or willpower, but from surrender. Surrendering the illusion of control and trusting that God will sustain you. Looking back, you will see that the hardest seasons were the ones where you grew the most. Not because you figured everything out, but because you were carried through them. The strength that sustained you was not yours, it was given to you. And that same strength will continue to uphold you, guiding you toward what lies ahead. So when you find yourself moving forward despite exhaustion, when peace steadies you despite chaos, when you endure what once seemed impossible, pay attention. You are not walking alone. You are being strengthened, upheld, and led towards something greater than you can yet see. And in that, you will know that God's plan is unfolding, not in the absence of hardship, but in the way He sustains you through it. There comes a time in life when everything that once seemed uncertain begins to make sense. The struggles that once felt meaningless reveal their purpose. The setbacks that caused frustration turn out to be redirections. The lessons that were once painful become the foundation of wisdom. This is the moment of clarity, the moment when you look back and see that God's plan was unfolding all along, even when you did not understand it. Clarity does not always come immediately. Often, we walk through seasons of confusion, questioning why certain things happened, why prayers seemed unanswered, why we were led down one path instead of another. In the middle of it, nothing seems to make sense, but then one day, something shifts. You look back and realize that every twist and turn, every challenge and delay was preparing you for where you are now. It is like a tapestry being woven from the backside. When you look at it in the middle of the process, it appears chaotic, threads crossing in random directions, colors blending in ways that seem disorderly. But when the work is finished and turned around, the pattern is revealed. The same is true with God's work in your life. While you are in the process, it may feel messy and confusing, but in time you will see the masterpiece He was creating all along. This clarity often comes in small moments, when a long-awaited answer finally arrives, when a struggle you endured prepares you for an unexpected opportunity, when you realize that something you once wanted would not have been good for you. These moments bring a deep sense of understanding, not just of the past, but also of the present. You begin to trust that if God has been guiding you all along, He will continue to do so. It is in these moments of clarity that gratitude replaces frustration. Instead of resenting the delays, you appreciate the timing. Instead of regretting past difficulties, you see how they shaped you. Instead of questioning whether you are on the right path, you trust that you are exactly where you need to be. This does not mean that every question will be answered, but it means that you no longer need all the answers to have peace. Once you recognize the pattern of God's faithfulness in your life, your perspective changes. You no longer panic in seasons of uncertainty because you have seen how He has worked before. You no longer fear the unknown because you trust that even what you do not yet understand is part of a greater plan. And when you reach this point, you know, without doubt, that God's hand has been on your life from the very beginning. So when clarity comes, embrace it. Let it strengthen your faith. Let it remind you that nothing has been wasted. And most of all, let it give you confidence that His plan is still unfolding, leading you towards something even greater than you can yet see. When God's plan is unfolding in your life, the signs are not always dramatic or immediate. They appear in the steady guidance that directs your steps, the deep peace that sustains you in uncertainty, the trials that shape you, the encounters that change you, the strength that carries you beyond your limits, and the clarity that reveals His purpose in it all. Each of these signs reminds you that your life is not random, that you are not lost, and that every experience, whether joyful or difficult, is part of something far greater than you can imagine. Trust the process, even when it feels slow. Embrace the challenges, knowing they are preparing you for something greater. Pay attention to the people and opportunities placed in your path. And most of all, remember that you are never walking alone. His plan is always at work, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. As you continue forward, may you have the wisdom to recognize His hand in your life, the patience to endure the seasons of waiting, and the faith to walk boldly into the future He has prepared for you. Good luck on your journey, and may every step bring you closer to the purpose you were created for. Thank you for taking this time to reflect, and may you always find strength, peace, and direction in the unfolding of His divine plan.